asset store and import the standard assets. You don't need all of them, but like, I don't know, uncheck things that you definitely don't think you'll need, or else you'll get errors because the standard assets, the first person character prefab thing, oh, this one's the wrong one. Had to import it twice. Okay, so we're going to be using this one, and it uses like a lot of stuff. Sounds, other crap you don't need. You don't need an audio listener, you don't need the head bob, blah blah blah. Anyway, so I think you go back and you make sure the collider's on, but that's all enabled by default. You want the movement to be checked, the mouse, and all of this should be default, and when you play the game you should be moving around no problem. You don't just drag and drop it here, you drag and drop it into the scene. Like, let me give an example. This is not what we're using rigid body, but you place it into the scene this way, because if you just drag it and drop here, most of the time it'll like show up somewhere here and your camera's gonna be really fucked up, and that's not what you want. So you don't need this, of course. Now we have to add the cubes, and that is really straightforward. What I just did is I made a 3D object, I placed it in, I made a red, green, and blue material, and I dragged and dropped it on them. Super simple. Script manager, because it's just nice to have. And I made a cube spawn, so they don't all show up when you play the game. Only the red one does, because that's what he wants. And you want these to show up as soon as you touch this one, and then this one to fall. So when you play the game, you don't want it to, you know, automatically fall to the ground, unless you walk over to it and touch it. In that case, you want the green one to show up and not fall automatically until you touch it, and then the blue one, and that's it. So how I did that is I wrote a script that hid these two until this one was touched and it fell to the ground. So add component. He went over this in one of like the first Module 5 videos, so if you don't know how to do this, just I guess copy paste what this is. But basically you assign this to the player, and it's if the player touches, you know, the red cube, which is exactly how I named it, it has to be exact. It becomes a rigid body, which, if you don't know what that means, it adds physics and it automatically falls down because it's floating in the air. And the same thing for the green cube when that shows up, and the blue cube. But since I had them spawn inactive, as in they're actually there, they're just not visible. That's how I did that false. And when you go to that script, you have to drag and drop, assign what you want those to be, so they do the right, or yeah, the right ones disappear. Anyway, and then once this falls down, you want it to be true, so it shows the next one. So you only want the green one to show, so that's why you add it here. So once you go to this next one, once you hit the green one, you can see the blue one will show up. But because there's really nothing else to do in the scene once you hit the blue one, you don't need to add anything under the add component and hit the blue cube. So once the blue one shows up, that's it. You're done. Your game is done. And I hope that helped. I'm not sure if this is the easiest way to do it, but this is how I did it, and it didn't take me too long to rack my brain and figure out. So yeah. You're welcome.